Hello friends, Neumorphic design, or what we call it Neumorphism, is a kind of modern variation of the classic skeuomorphic design, which heavily uses the gradients, shadows and translucent colors to create very real-world looking style of designs. However, Neumorphism is a beautiful iteration of that classic design. So in this video I will be talking about how you can go ahead and create Neumorphism using Figma. So friends, let's go ahead and get started. Alright friends, to work with the Neumorphism design in Figma, first of all we need to create a frame. You can create a frame by going to this and selecting the frame and draw a frame right there, and I have already drawn my frame. And then select this frame, go to the fill color and select the desired color that you wish to use for the Neumorphism design. So in this case I want to go ahead and select this color and maybe this one. Let's tweak it a little bit by adding the manual values to 96 and 96, and then this is the HSL value you could use. Right, now let's go ahead and grab the rectangle from here and simply go ahead and draw a square of 224 by 224. You can choose any size you wish to work with. Now my friends, let's go ahead and change the fill color to exactly same as this background color. So you can use this color picker, and now the background has been changed. Great. Now let's go ahead and try adding shadows. So go to the effects, click on the plus icon and you're gonna see a drop shadow option. Now this is very important, and enter these values very carefully. Click on this icon, and here we need to kind of add shadows to the bottom right corner and light or reflection to the top left corner, sorry. And then let's go ahead and enter the X value 10, Y value 10, and then enter the blur value, double the amount of this X and Y offset. So I want to use 20, and let's go ahead and choose the color. So in this case I want to use the same hue that I am using for the background, but my saturation and lightness is going to be varied. So I want to put this dot right around here, and let's put it right there, and this is pretty good. Let's tweak it. It's 30 by 60 and it's looking much better. Alright, now you could also play with this opacity. So there are many kinds of Neumorphic designs, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and change this slider to adjust the color. And then what you can do here is that you need to add a reflection to the top left corner. So select this rectangle again, click on this plus icon, select the drop shadow once again, and instead of using the dark color, let's go ahead and choose the light color, in this case a white color, and then choose the X value as 10, Y value as 10, but this time we need to enter a negative 10 values here, X and Y, and for the blur I want to use 20. So it will look something like this, but you also need to increase the opacity if you have decreased it. So my friends, now we have created an UI component for the Neumorphic design, and it's really great. Now my friends, let's go ahead and convert this to a component. So to create this as a component, you can select this and click on this icon. The benefit of creating the component is really very useful, that you can anytime modify the master component and changes are going to reflect among all the instances of this master component. For example, let's duplicate this component by pressing Shift and Alt and dragging this to the right. So I have created two instances. You can see that here I have the diamond icon, which is the field, and this is the master component. For the instances, I have hollow diamond rectangle. Now let's go ahead and make this a rounded shape. So control click on this shape so that you can see that you can add the radius. So let's drag it up something like 32. Great. And let's again control click on this one and completely round this. So now we have other two components. And now what we can say is that, let's say I want to change the blur and shadow of these components. So for all of these three components, so I can go ahead and control click on the master component and go to this drop shadow, and instead of using the 10x value, let's go ahead and use the 12x value, -12, and instead of a blur of 20, let's go with 24. So the changes aren't instantly visible. Let's increase the values so that you can see what I'm talking about. Can you see that? So changes are reflecting to every component. So let's switch back to -12 and -12 and blur 24. Great. And let's do the same for the shadow. So again, 12, 12 and 24. Great. So here's our UI component. So friends, let's go ahead and create another states for this UI components. So what I want to do here is that I want to go ahead and go to the assets. I want to grab this and this component and drag it up here, and then I want to go ahead and kind of control click right there, and instead of these drop shadows, let's go ahead and select the inner shadows, and it's already looking cool. Now what we need to do here is that kind of adjust these values. So what we can do here is that we can kind of reduce the shadow values by control clicking on the shape, and let's go ahead and change back to let's say -8, -8 and 16 for the blur, and also 8, 8 and 16, and that is much softer and looking nice. Alright, now let's go ahead and convert this to a component. You can click on here to make this a component. Now what you can do here is that you can kind of grab this and duplicate the instances and control click on the second instance and round the radius or enter the radius value manually. And also let's go ahead and do the same for this. Control click on the shape and enter the bigger value to create a circular shape. Let's enter the value more than the half of the height or width of this square. So it should be more than 112. So let's do something like this, and now it's completely round. So these UI components are already looking very nice. So this is how we can create a neumorphism design inside Figma, and it's really very interesting because we don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting as we did in Adobe XD. You can see the Adobe XD tutorial to see how we can make these UI components or neumorphism UI component inside Adobe XD. I will put the link in the description. So let's continue with the Figma once again. I want to make some other changes, or I want to create one more instance of this neumorphism design. So let's go ahead and grab this one and kind of create another instance. Now this time what I want to do here is that I want to go ahead and kind of add some other shadows to tweak it much better. So you can say one more variation. So let's go ahead and control click on this shape, and what you can do here is that you can add shadows to improve the design. So let's go ahead and add a drop shadow to the bottom right corner, and here we want to add a dark shadow. So let's click on the color and select this color, which is the 216, 28, 77 and 100% opacity, and then enter these values. Let's say 6, 6 and maybe 12. I think we can increase the X values. So let's go ahead with maybe 10 by 10 and let's say 20, and this time I want to reduce the opacity to 50% like this. And let's go ahead and create another drop shadow, and this time I want to give -10, -10, and here blur of 20, and color should be white, and opacity is going to be maybe around let's go ahead and play with the opacity. Maybe 90 is looking better. So what else you can do here is that you can go ahead and duplicate this once again by pressing Ctrl D and then resize this shape. And now what we need to do here is that we need to again control click on this shape and change the drop shadow to inner shadow like this, and inner shadows are going to be our drop shadows. So it would create an effect like this. But I don't think I'm liking this much. So let's go ahead and do some experiment. Right, let's go ahead and control click on this shape, and then instead of using the inner shadows, let's go ahead and try hiding them. And now you're gonna see how it come up with. And I really do like this neumorphism design style. So what else we can do here is that we can make this also a component. So let's go ahead and click, control click, and select the second shape also, or you can drag selection like this and control G to create a group, and then you can simply go ahead and click on this create component. So now you have one more component. Now you can simply go ahead and press Shift and Alt and simply drag to the right, and then you can round these corners. So let's go ahead and round them. Let's say I want it to be 32, inner should be, let's say 16, and also for this one I'm gonna round it completely. And this is it. So now my friends, we have created the basic UI components for the Neumorphism UI design. Now what you can do is that you can use these components to create real world UI design elements. So let's go ahead and let me demonstrate them quickly. You can create button by grabbing this component, and you can simply go ahead and reduce the height. Let's enter it manually. So let's go ahead and create a button. So let's say first button, and maybe you can write anything and select. Let's center this, right? And let's go ahead and create another component. This time I want to use an input field. So let's grab this one maybe, and I want to create a rounded input field. So let's round this completely, and then I can say enter your email and put this here. You can simply go ahead and change these colors, and maybe this one. Yeah, this is looking nicer. What else you can do is that you can go ahead and create the radio buttons. Just select this component and simply go ahead and decrease the size. So here is your radio button, and you can make other changes to this radio button. Go ahead and quickly select the inner shape by control clicking on it. And what else you can do is that you can convert these drop shadow to inner shadows, right? And just swap these light to the top left corner by entering its positive value, and this one to the bottom right, and kind of increase. This is our light color, it's already on the top, and this is our darker color. We need to swap to the bottom or shift to the bottom. So I can say -8 and -8, and here we go. Let's go ahead and reduce its opacity a bit. Yeah, this is looking nice. And what else we can create here? We can go ahead and create, let's say I want to use a circular image, so I can go ahead and grab this component right here, and let's duplicate this one, and let's resize it a bit. Let's go ahead and remove the drop shadows, and simply control click on this shape, go to the plugins, and you can install any plugins that you would like to use. I'm gonna use the UI faces here, and I want to use a profile photo. So let's go ahead and apply avatar, and it's gonna put an image like this, right? And you can create any design you want by using these basic components. So this is it for this video, guys. So if you do like this video, please consider liking the video and commenting your thoughts in the comment section. Also, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more contents like this. I will be talking a lot about UI designs and front-end developments on this channel. So I hope to see you soon in my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching this video. Take care.